Champions, Daniel Hartz here. Did you know 1 million plastic bottles are sold globally every minute? It's a crazy, crazy number to think of. I actually can't even fathom what that would look like in a day, let alone a week or a year. So today I'm speaking with Sustainability Champion Jordan Hurley, the CEO and founder of SOAP₂O, who saw this challenge and decided to do something about it. SOAP₂O is the world's most sustainable hand soap. Their soap powder is encased in a water-soluble film that completely dissolves when added to water, leaving behind a foaming, soft hand and body soap. Not only this, but the whole process of manufacturing and delivering completely reduces their carbon footprint because no water is transported. So the questions I have are, how does the product work? Why is it a sustainable solution? How are companies already benefiting massively from SOAP₂O? And we're going to cover all of this right now. So Jordan, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Daniel.
And where are you joining the live from?
I'm currently actually in a Leamington spa in the Midlands.
Very nice. I'm not too far. I've never been, but I'm based in London right now. Probably can't tell from my accent, but yes, that's where
You're far away from home at the moment.
A little bit, but very glad to be here. So today I'd love to cover three things. Number one, broadly speaking, how SOAP₂O works. Then the moment of inspiration when you realize this is the challenge that you want to solve. And then number three is how companies are taking advantage of your product, SOAP₂O. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. And if you're watching this conversation live, please feel free to share your comments and questions for Jordan in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them. I'm watching the chat, so please go ahead and type those in. So with that being said, that's enough from me. I think everyone wants to hear from you now, Jordan. So if we go over to SOAP₂O and we just start broadly, how does it work?
So, I mean, SOAP₂O, it's quite a simple solution, really. And being completely honest with you, when we came up with the idea, it was a surprise. There are always similar things out there in the market. There is always that sort of competition that you search for when you have an idea, and it's a simple solution that puts a concentrate powder into a PVA soluble film that instantly dissolves as soon as it hits the water and creates a nice foaming hand soap.
So it's very simple, and the sachets, basically the thing that contains is, you said PVA soluble film. So basically, as soon as it touches water, it's completely disappears.
Biodegradable. It doesn't contaminate or contribute to the microplastic pollution. So as soon as it's gone, that's it. It's disappeared, and it's good for the environment while it's disappearing away down the drain as well.
That's amazing. So
which is it's really key, because that not all hand soaps have that.
No, I mean I would say most hand soaps, at least the hand soaps that I know of, and I'm looking at one of the soaps right now on the kitchen counter. It's a large bottle and there's liquid inside of it. So is that what it looks like if I were to buy a product, some SOAP₂O, would I buy a bottle?
So, I mean, with our products here, so we have a few different sizes. We have a 10-gram sachet here that would go into a wall dispenser. That would just be a standard push pump. And then we have a 4 to 5 gram sachet that goes into a 350 ml one of our bottles. This can, we do focus, just to make it sort of clear at the moment, we do focus mainly in the commercial industry. So our dispensers are out in the public domain or in office blocks, from airports to schools to wherever you can think of where there might be a toilet and a high footfall of people. We're there, really. And then obviously we brought this nice bottle out that aims at the the sort of boutique hotels or hotels in general, which goes in a nice bracket, but also goes into office blocks, kitchens, etc. And then all you do is pretty much fill this bottle with water. Now, the key thing is with our product is that it dissolves fast and dissolves fast into cold water. So, for example, what you would throw into your washing machine in the gel form, that the covering for that wouldn't dissolve instantly into cold water. It's made to dissolve into warm or hot water. Where for us, or in a tablet form, it takes a lot longer to dissolve. So for us, we made this for the commercial industry that needs to be dissolving with speed. People are changing them. You could be in a stadium and you've got 80 to 100,000 people, in a toilet where the soap runs out. And you've got to try and change this over quite quickly, and they need to be able to use it. So this dissolves within 40 seconds.
Wow.
And then as soon as it dissolves, you are straight into a really nice foaming hand soap.
And then at that point, it works just like regular soap.
Just like regular soap, yeah, straight under the tap, and you're washing your hands.
Wow.
This one's a pomegranate and cranberry scent.
Sounds very refreshing.
Not only is it good, but it smells great as well.
So you've partnered, because it's a very cool concept. It sounds like from the point of view of the actual, you said you're in the commercial industry, so it sounds like from the point of view of the actual customer or the user of the product is actually much easier, because they don't. I mean, if I need to swap out a hand soap, I don't need to actually carry anything heavy with me. I'm just carrying one of these. No,
I mean, you're going to go across an airport. There could be, up to 2, 3, even 400, 500 dispensers you might have to refill in a day. Most solutions are out there at the moment are either like a cartridge system that you would take the plastic cartridge out of soap and then click another one in, or the other one you'd be refilling from a 5 liter or like a gallon drum that you'd be trying to sort of pour in from, which obviously you're still transporting water, and also is quite a heavy solution. Where just in this box here, in literage or in mil, you've got nearly 12 liters of hand soap.
Wow.
So when you think about it, that's 12,000 mil of hand soap there, in a little box, which is completely recyclable
and plastic free.
So, wow. And it's the weight of it. You try and carry. No one. I mean, we could probably, you think about it with a shoebox, we could probably fit not far off, 120 liters in that, if not more, in a shoebox.
Wow.
So you wouldn't need to be going back to a store cupboard or anything like that. You would literally just go in one hit and you could do anything, especially when it comes to the hotel industry or anything like that. It's just a very simple, easy solution, quick and fast.
Yeah. I mean, you can almost just carry them in your pocket if you really needed to.
Absolutely. I mean, you might struggle to get through customs, but
yeah. It's just soap, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Escobar.
Yeah. So what is the challenge? I mean, what's the real problem with moving water?
The main thing right now is that it's the weight and it's the transportation of it. It's just as they always say in shipping, you never want to ship air when you're paying for a container. But why would you want to ship water? Realistically, it's a huge thing whenever we're transporting anything anywhere. When you come to the weight of a product, you compare the weight of 1 liter's worth of soap. It's about a kilogram, and you've got 5 grams here. The difference is just it stands out a mile, really. It's when you're comparing it as well for a company's benefit. The transportation costs we could do 2 drops in a year, where they would be having a drop every week of their other product, and that could be down to storage as well.
And so, from the point of view of the carbon footprint, I mean, that substantially reduces it per leader.
Absolutely, you don't need a van or a lorry coming out to your premises every week or every month. You just need them coming out either once a year or twice a year maximum.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine from the point of view of if I you mentioned stadium, for instance, if I'm a stadium or some large corporate building and I want to go more green. One of the first things you can do is, of course, focus on your own electricity and carbon footprint, like just from what you control, your scope 1 emissions. But then the scope 2 and scope 3, working with your manufacturers, that's where it starts to get really tricky.
I think the key thing is that if you're any business out there, whatever you're looking at, whether it's cleaning supplies, or other parts that you are in your buying group, or whether you're buying in, food and beverage, you just need to look at the most ethical way of doing it and the best way of doing it for the environment. And there are ways of doing that. That there's plenty of ways, from how we purchase products, and how we can do so. And I think that's what companies are looking at now. They're not just, people are looking at how their servers, where are their servers held, and is the servers that all of their systems on, are they green? So
Exactly.
there's so many elements to to having an effect on. And I think we need to take a personal responsibility, don't we? Whether it's ourselves or whether it's our companies, that we need to look at it. And I think now more than ever, that is exactly what people are doing. I mean, we don't just, when we transport these now as well. We work with a company called FlexiHex, and the FlexiHex do these. They're great. Don't use bubble wrap. I mean, I'm giving them a great shout out here, but they work out really well for us. Where we slot our bottles in, and we try and work with other companies that, we work with a packaging company, a big city packaging in Nottingham, and they work out all of our packaging solutions to make sure that it's completely 100% recyclable. And so we, even though we have a product ourselves that benefits the environment, we also have other things that we do within our business that we also have to look at. We can't just
Exactly.
tell you to change your hand soap to be more climate friendly. To we have to do our things as well. And these are quite cool things that are better than bubble wrap.
Absolutely. And it's those things that, when you open the packaging and you look inside as the consumer, these are things that you think about. You see, oh, actually there is no plastic. It's all recyclable. It's all paper. And it just goes to show the commitment that you're making at SOAP₂O to make sure that you really are keeping the environment in mind on all.
I don't think anyone's perfect out there, but I think we're constantly trying to improve. And if we do have products out there, for example, we are working on using reusable plastic for the top here, recycled plastic, sorry, or trying to use, plastic that you wouldn't need. There's certain things where there's only so much, I think, to a certain degree that we can do it. And then you go to the next level, and then you look at the next. And I think even we are always looking to evolve on our product range and how we can make it better. That's why we started off with glass.
Oh, wow.
So, we do everything we can. And I'm sure, like every business with any product range and any product line, you can always do better. Because the good thing is there's great other people with innovative ideas that are bringing out better solutions that we can all, maximize those product ranges to improve our carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm. And there's also, you have a partnership with Solupack.
Yeah, absolutely. Solupack are our manufacturers and of our product, and we went to them because they are the experts in this. I'm a guy with an idea who runs with it. I need people like Solupack around me because I would say they're the brains of the business, and it's you need that. They've got the experience in producing this kind of solution. They've been doing it for since the late 90s. They're all way ahead of their time. And they've been producing from all types of cleaning materials, from surface cleaner through to toilet cleaner through to floor cleaner, sanitizing, surface spray, everything you can think of, degreaser. They do the whole range. So it's just a perfect fit for me. I didn't want to go into originally, when we thought about this, we looked at the gel form solution, and with I think there's always that risk of if one pops, they take them all out.
Oh, really?
So it's that's always a worry. I think if you ever have gel pods in your for your washing machine or anything like that, and there's always, if they get stuck together because one's popped, and when you pull the other one apart, it takes the other one out. And do you know what? On a personal basis, probably you're not too frustrated, but if you were having a container full and you were shipping them around the world, the customer's not going to be too happy if they get there and they've only got half their stock that they ordered.
Yeah.
So I wanted to eliminate, and you know what? As a startup business, you have to eliminate those kind of risks because they can be expensive mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went to now these, we can stand on these, you can flatten these, you can bend them, anything you want. They're not going to break. They only break when they come into contact realistically with water.
Wow.
So yeah, literally, you look at that there, we can squeeze them and pulling them. It's quite a strong, material that actually, as soon as it hits water, completely, if you have literally moisture in your hands, you can feel it starting to go. So
that's amazing. So it's very quick.
But you can rely on the product arriving safely.
Right.
But yeah, so we work very closely with Solupack. We actually do offer their, we actually act as a distributor of their products as well. So we do offer their whole product ranges as one. But our focus really is to dominate the soap market because it's a big market. That's a high volume product that we really we don't have the final there hasn't been a final solution out there that we're doing, and we feel that we have a real strong answer to the problem.
Yeah. On that point of being the biggest, the best, do you have any figures off the top of your head, offhand rather, that on how many, for instance, bottles of soap you've replaced?
Well, for less on the replace. I mean, at the moment, just this month, we probably replaced 36,000 liters.
Wow.
Just looking on the ordering side of things and different things that we're doing, and that's growing and growing. And bear in mind, we've only been going a few months.
That's amazing.
So when you think about the uptake of what we've done, but for us mainly, it's we've already very luckily through previous sort of businesses, we have a great potential global distribution network, and we only go via distributors. So our end users that want our products, we would introduce them to a distributor, or they would have to ask their current supplier to supply our stock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think on a slightly different note, I think a lot of companies are looking to provide sustainable solutions. This is the amazing thing I think about the time that we're living in now, is we are seeing this demand coming in, and it seems to me like if a company isn't catering to that need of environmentally friendly, ethical products, consumers are starting to sort of get upset, choose alternatives, and what I think is amazing about SOAP₂O is that it's what looks like a very easy solution that allows companies to cater to that need.
Absolutely. There's a lot of great products out there that are coming up with really, really simple solutions. So in my eyes, there's no excuse for you. It doesn't take a lot to change your hands. It doesn't take a lot to change your, how you're cleaning your cleaning solutions. It doesn't really take a lot to, change how you're bringing in different things into your business, whatever it may be, or how much paper you're using. Do you really need to print that out? Do all those kind of things? It's I just think that we are coming into that world where you just don't need to. It's a laziness.
Absolutely. I think in addition to that, I mean, I agree with you. Sometimes it is actually more effort to do certain things. And I think that's the amazing thing about companies like SOAP₂O, and there are many, many others that are making it so easy that you don't really even need to think about it, which is really important. Sustainability should be something that is just done automatically rather than, oh, we need to not go down this quick and easy road. We need to go down this long, complicated, and expensive journey in order to save, some liters of water, kind of a thing. And once you make it super simple, then it's not something that needs to be considered. That being said, a lot of sustainable solutions that are kind of environmentally focused and quote sustainable, a lot of companies think, well, I can't afford that. I don't want to increase my costs. This solution is just too expensive for us, and it's not for us. How do you see that kind of question?
We obviously the distributor has a bit of a free range of how they supply their product and what price they supply it at. But for me, I'm pretty confident to say that if you were to speak to any of our distributors and ask for a comparison to what they're currently selling and what your current solution is, I'm pretty confident that 100% of the time they would come in cheaper. They definitely, it's not a most things sustainable, changing your packaging or changing things like that, or changing your car over, potentially, can be, even though, there's long term. It's always, remember when people wanted, put solar panels on their roof for this, they were always an expensive solution, but you got it back in time, where we aren't an expensive solution. We don't just reduce your costs here. That isn't, this isn't just the where we save you money. If you're a hotel chain, for example, let's just say, we've been working with one of our distributors, and they've got 700 hotels. They're looking at in their cleaning range, they would have at least one pallet of soap and cleaning products arrive at their hotels every month. A standard pallet anywhere in the UK would cost you around about £45 to £50. So their total costs per year as a company with 700 hotels, having a pallet per month per hotel, is around about 425,000 sterling, just in transportation costs. If they was to take a drop off from ourselves, which would only be a box this size, every 6 months, we can reduce their cost down to about 30,000
per year.
We would nearly save them 400,000 just on transportation. Forget about what we would save them on the product.
Wow.
So there's other things, it's not, when you look at a cost comparison, you have to look at the bigger picture. You can't just look at the cost of, one for one on the item of how it sits on the shelf, even though I'm very confident that we would still come under of what your current solution is.
So, and I think that is precisely one of the benefits of the environmentally friendly aspect, is, by creating the solution. And I remember I spoke with someone who has a similar solution for cleaning products like sprays. I'm pretty sure it comes in a powder. And of course, the whole point is that we all have water next to us. That's the beauty of living in modern society. We have plumbing, and water is readily available. So his whole point was, why ship it when you already have it? And
exactly that.
Yeah, and it's a similar idea, and it's just amazing because, indeed, it costs £400,000 to ship water
for that group. Absolutely.
And it doesn't even sound like it saves them that much time.
And you've got to remember, the UK is a small place.
Yeah.
You think of all the, you take the States, for example. If they want to offer a next day service, and they're based in, on the East Coast, and they want to be a company that sort of, covers the whole of the country and grow, part of their growth plans has got to have a distribution outlet in each state to be able to, or within, try and cover that area, which is an additional cost. They've got to hold stock in those places. If you wanted to distribute our product in the States, you would be able to send it to that client for them to have enough for 6 months. You can already start the planning for the next 6 months. If they, we're looking at storage, it's not a lot to store that kind of this product. So if, you wouldn't need to have to set up a full distribution network and a hub and go into partnerships with people to do deliveries and local deliveries. It's a huge saving on so many ways, which, bear in mind, and when I say that, those costs are passed on to the customer.
Exactly.
So, you bring in a lot back of those additional costs of, when you're selling that product, of what are you actually paying for what of that price. What you're paying for is our product, is the product. You're not paying for all the additional things that is adding on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think for companies that are looking to really reduce their carbon footprint as well, when they are starting to do carbon calculations, understanding where can we remove CO2, this is such an easy way to do it. And they end up saving potentially hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars or whatever the case may be. So it's just there's so many, you're kind of killing multiple birds with one stone.
Absolutely. I mean, we've actually supplied an airport, and when we spoke with them, obviously they need to look at more than probably most companies to reduce their carbon footprint and emissions. And we get it on quite a lot of occasions of what's the catch? Why wouldn't we move over to you? And being completely honest, there isn't an answer. I think you should.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think that's what it should be.
Yeah, we have a focus and we have a goal, and we really do want to reduce the use of single-use plastic and have a really big impact on this industry. For me, it's very frustrating going into places like hotels, and I've got photos on my phone. As I say, I'm not one of those that's out to call people out. I'm more about there to educate people of what they can do better, because I understand we're in a tough climate, especially right now after the pandemic. That we can't make change overnight, because it's something that we've already, it can be costly just to even go through it. You might be holding a lot of stock of what you've already bought in, and it might not be on your focus of other things that you're focusing on within the business to increase revenue, etc. But if you look at those single-use bottles that are in those hotel rooms, we don't all, I don't know whether how much you travel, but how often did you last use the body lotion in a hotel room? But you probably took it home anyway because it's free, and they give you 3 of them as well, and they give you 3 shower gel and 3 shampoo and 3 conditioner, and they also give
and you're there for one night.
They also give you a bar of soap that's in a plastic wrapper that you unwrap, you wash your hands. Probably in you go to the toilet probably 2 or 3 times in your stay within 24 hours, and then you go off somewhere else and you leave the soap. You don't want to take a soap that you've already used and put it back into your wash bag, so you leave it there anyway. And they come along the next day, and they this bar of soap that's barely been touched around the edges is now thrown into the bin. And then I mentioned to a company, and some companies send them back to the soap manufacturers, so they melt them back down and reuse them, but it still needs transporting back to come back out to you again.
Yeah.
To be repackaged. That packaging had to be transported to them. It's, I find that's the biggest bizarre one for me, is the bar of soap. Why it's still being used in hotel rooms. I will, never understand that.
And so SOAP₂O is a great alternative for all of that.
It's a perfect alternative. Realistically, you would have one of these on a really nice bracket. They can have them branded. We can personalize them, and for hotels, we can actually create a scent for them if they want it to stand out to their own customers. And that's not just hotels; it's anyone. We can create a scent for the brand, so they know that we will work with their team. This is the scent. Here's the different ones that you can have, and we will produce you a hand soap that is only for your brand.
Wow, that is so cool.
So they have that as a very simple solution.
So each football team can have its own unique scent. In addition to chants, they can have scents.
You could have whatever you want.
Yeah.
I won't suggest some of the scents that they might be out there.
You mentioned about education, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is I saw this on your LinkedIn profile, and I thought it really resonated with me, because it's I completely agree with it, and it fits with the Sustainability Champions theme in a, perfect way, really. You said that, I'll just quote you here. It says, "My sustainable journey is not about telling companies what they're doing is wrong and the products they're using are bad. It's about looking for the positives and educating them on the products that are good for the planet. Let's avoid the blame and shame game and start the education game." And I think that's brilliant, because from my point of view, I see a lot of this blame and shame and pointing out what all these companies are doing wrong, and basically encouraging them to change through sort of, well, I suppose it's the difference between the carrot and stick. So it's using the stick.
Absolutely.
So can you just talk about that a little more, and really how you see education?
That, you know what, when people bring, I've been involved in various different businesses over the years, and when people bring a new product into the market and they think it's better than someone else's, it's about, we've got into this thing where, you know, obviously, since it was all started to be sort of allowed and acceptable, where, you know, Tesco might bring up Aldi, and Aldi want to take on Lidl, and they want to call each other out and stuff like that, and, you know, various different things, which can be a little bit tongue in cheek and quite fun. But then, you know, if I start walking into a hotel room and start going, "Look, this hotel, I'm here, and I'm at the Hilton, the Marriott, and other stuff," you know, and start calling people out, and I don't see how that does, you know, does any justice, really, when these people have, you know, we've all, look around your house, look around our homes and how we do things, how we get about, and, you know, we've all just gone along with what's been accessible to us. Don't get me wrong. If in 10 years' time, Daniel, and they're still doing it, I might have a problem after, you know, if they're not using me or another solution that might be on the market, you know, then I think they need to be, you know, a little smack on the bum, really. But, you know, at the moment, I think it's not, you know, they haven't been focused enough on it. The world hasn't been focused enough on it, even though, you know, I think we should have been. And it's proving, you know, sadly, in the news on a daily basis. You know, change is needed. But yeah, I think it's more, we need to educate. You know, education is the key to this for change, in my eyes. And I think I spoke to a lot of companies over the last sort of few months about what they currently use and how they use them and why they use them and why they've chose to use them. And they all have valid reasons. You know, no one's chose that product because it's bad for the environment. No one's gone, "Do you know what, I want that soap, and do you know what, I hope it takes a long time to get here, and it's brought in on a diesel, you know, lorry, and you know,
I'm going to throw it in the stream next door."
Yeah, and do you know what, I'm only going to use it once and just pour the rest away, and then order some more. You know, that isn't their you know, their reasons behind it. It's and it can be sometimes simply as they're trying to not order from two companies and have two deliveries. So they might be getting their hand towels from one company's, and, you know, so it's better for them to get that soap from that other one, so they're not having two deliveries. So sometimes, even though when you dive into it a little bit, we are still a better solution, but, you know, they had good reasons for doing what they've done so far. So I think it's just an education thing, and that's what we you know, we're trying to do stuff with schools at the moment as well, and provide our products to the schools, because, you know, I've got two nieces that, you know, are always being sort of there's quite strong at school at the moment, of all age groups, to, you know, I think they're the future, to educate, to you know, make this place a better, you know, a better planet to live on. And you know, we want to try and provide but, you know, going into next year, we're very focused on providing not just the soap, but also the education and material for schools to understand to the children, one, how important it is to wash your hands at the moment, you know, and anyway, but right now, very important. But two, what they're washing their hands with. So that's quite a big focus of ours going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's it's something that we see, and kids will see, and everyone sees soap everywhere, and so It's amazing how once you see something and it really sticks with you, you can't really unsee it. It's like a paradigm shift. And once you start seeing how soap can be made and how it can be done in a way that's substantially more environmentally friendly, all of a sudden you go into your bathroom, into the kitchen, into restaurants, hotels, etc. And you're just like, wow, it's everywhere. And there's a much better solution. And
Absolutely. I hope we all wash our hands quite a few times a day. So when you think how many people are on the earth and they're all washing their hands, it's let's just say there's a lot of soap out there.
Absolutely. And so what was that moment when you realized, what was that like that moment of inspiration when you realized this is
a eureka moment? Yeah, it's for me, I mean, I can't say I sat there with a pen and started thinking of loads of ideas of how I can save the world. I wish it was like that. That sounds a lot better story to tell, but I'll be completely honest with you. For me, I was actually in the dispenser industry, and I had a dispenser in my house that was a sanitizing dispenser, but it was for a foaming sanitizer. So I had no foaming sanitizer, so I filled the dispenser up with water and squeezed some fairy liquid into it, some washing up liquid, and it came out as a foam. And I thought, wow, why are we filling this with liquid when literally I just I filled it with water? And that kind of got my juices flowing, shall we say. And then I looked into, as I say, my initial thoughts was naturally, because of what was in my cupboard, was a gel form. And then once I then got in contact with the guys at Solupack, we got our heads together and worked out the best solution for me to take this to the market, really, which was very lucky in that it's took. I mean, this is over 12 months of development, and I'm a really impatient guy because my background is more about the business development. I can't take any credit really for the ingredients that have gone into this product. That's for the guys to take all the praise for that. I just came up with the idea of can we do this, and if we can, great. Let's find a better way of moving it.
And on the point of ingredients, and I understand that that's completely on their side, but on a kind of brief and broad overview, from what I saw on the website, they're all natural. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's ethically sourced. It's all approved by the cosmetic regs. There's no animal testing. It's cruelty free. It's vegan friendly. We've done everything that we possibly can to make this product as biodegradable, as sustainable. The raw materials in these products are the best that we can use for this product to do the job. And as I said, as things evolve, we will evolve with anything else that we can do. But we can hold our heads very high in selling this as a sustainable and natural product.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. And what are some of the future innovations that you're working on, if you can say?
Well, look, there's I don't want to pinpoint the actual products, but we are working on 2 additional products at the moment that are probably ready to launch early 2022. I think if you look at the industries that I'm approaching and the problems I'm trying to resolving, you may come up with the products that we're going to be replacing. But I would I'd love to talk with you again in January time, and then we can sort of open up a little bit more on those innovative products. But that they're very good, and as I say, what these guys can do is very clever, and they really do. They don't just serve a purpose; they solve a problem.
And I suppose the idea would be similar in that don't ship water.
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt. That is don't ship water. Don't use single-use plastic. There's other solutions out there. You can buy you buy washing powder. You don't turn around and buy a massive tub of water with washing powder already in it, and then you pour it into your washing machine, do you? The solution's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
I wish I was reinventing the wheel. I'm sadly not. It's just that things hopefully will just evolve, and it's good to see other people looking at other things.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you have any sustainability leaders that you admire, or perhaps like books or podcasts or TV shows or any kind of
I don't
movies
I
in
don't
this
think
realm?
for me, I don't think you can beat David Attenborough. If you watch any of the Blue Planet, and if it doesn't sort of inspire you in any way, then it's I think that's quite hard to. That's like saying you know you watched Wolf of Wall Street and didn't get excited. It has the same effect on me. I watch Blue Planet and I think, what can we do? You want to, as soon as you turn it off, you feel guilty. I feel
Yep.
instantly guilty of we are all having this big impact. And I like that he's passionate with a calm voice and the right way, and he just wants to educate people. And he said, as a departing sort of saying from, I think, for where his career's come, is, if you could advise anyone to do anything to help the planet, what would it be? And I think his saying was, don't waste anything. And I think that's a very powerful saying when you think about it, whether it's food or whether it's soap, whatever it may be, don't waste it. And if that's a very important sort of saying, because you need to replace it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very interesting because if you really think about don't waste anything ever, anything at all, you really start looking at absolutely everything that you ever come in contact with. And I think, although this is a much broader conversation, what I'm realizing more and more that this idea of the circular economy, if you're familiar with it, is just so powerful because it really does remove the need for misusing materials. And then, of course, there's the awful thing of actually throwing away what we consider waste. But
Yes.
the circular economy is all about reimagining how waste can actually turn into a raw material. And it's just, there's so much opportunity, and the amount of energy that's saved, and yeah, it's huge. And I don't think we do enough of not wasting anything.
No, without a doubt. And it's as I say, I think it was said as a very, sort of a small sentence, but quite a powerful impact if you really divulge into what we do waste.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think David Attenborough is a great figure to think about and to look up to. I mean, he's done so many different things. Just seeing a comment from Dave Hancock, who says that he would like to use the product, and he's made soaps for 20 years or more.
Well, I'm more than happy for Dave to add me on LinkedIn and send his address, and I would love his feedback on. I'll send him some samples.
Very cool. So, Dave, you heard that. Please reach out to Jordan, and he'd love your feedback there. And I guess in terms of off the back of that, I can't really imagine any better advice. But is there any advice that you have on what people can do on a daily basis, perhaps at their companies, to help become more environmentally friendly?
For me, Daniel, the best advice I can do is, in my eyes, is don't just talk about what we can do. Actually, act on some of the things that we all know. If everyone just walked into their office tomorrow, or went, went and looked around their house right now and chose one item that they were going to replace for something more sustainable, it would be look at the office, look at how you're buying things, look at how you're doing things, look at your ink that you're bringing in. Do you need that much ink? If you are bringing in a lot of ink, that means, are you printing too much? Can we save it? We've got a lot of cloud space that are on good servers. In my eyes, just this week, if anyone can make one thing, just try and change one item, because I think once you get in the flow of it, you'll change another. And that's what we need to do. We need to act on change.
Yeah, and I think businesses have such an opportunity. Companies in general. I mean, you mentioned a hotel with 700 locations. one little change and the amount of plastic that's stopped being used, the amount of water that's not transported, the carbon footprint, just from one quick decision. And that's one hotel chain.
And I know they're probably doing other things, and you look at some hotel chains and brands have over 7,000 hotels globally. I'm talking about something that's got 700, and they're not actually, they're not like 700 bedrooms either. But, when you think of the scale of this, and I'm just using the hotels as as an example. There's plenty of companies that have got other locations in the volumes when it comes to restaurants or fast food restaurants or whatever it may be. One change to one product is huge. When people stop using plastic straws, what an impact it had. It was massive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's my personal belief is that businesses have. I think the way I look at it is if companies and businesses got us into this mess, environmentally speaking, then they're the ones that can get us out of it, because the amount of the leverage that they have, every decision they make has such far-reaching consequences, both good and bad, that personally, I believe that we have to make businesses become more sustainable. And the easiest way to do that is to make it a financial case. And that's exactly what you're doing by massively reducing the cost of the product. And second of all, I think as individuals, what we're seeing is that there's consumer demand. As the guest of a hotel, there is consumer demand to push the hotels to be more environmentally friendly, and that's happening all across the board everywhere.
Absolutely, and there will be a day where people will walk into a hotel and go, "Oh wow, I can't believe they're still using those bottles."
Yeah.
Can you imagine walking into a bar and they give you all plastic straws? You'd look at them like, whoa, you shouldn't be doing that. You would sort of like look down on them as if like, God, you've not been listening. Everyone else is doing it.
Exactly.
So that will happen in other industries. It will happen in other industries in other ways.
I agree. I think on that point of the soap, I just remembered I've heard multiple people say, well, sorry, not on soap, sorry, on the straws, excuse me, where people were saying, well, straws make up the tiniest amount of plastic pollution in the ocean. It's really, you're not actually doing anything substantial. I always thought that, yes, that's probably true. And, straws are very small and they're not really that consequential when it comes to the amount of single-use plastic that's being used. But it wasn't really about the straw. It was kind of like a crack in the foundation. And now we've gotten in there. It's a foot in the door. And now we have this ability to just keep wedging it wider and wider. And
it goes from the straws to the stirrers on the bars. They disappear, and now we've got little wooden ones and
plastic cutlery,
absolutely,
soap dispensers, and
just And next thing you know, you've got a SOAP₂O soap box sitting in your store cupboard.
Exactly, and it's just
and you can
normal.
feel good for using it.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Exactly, and it's the normal way to do things because, well, it's environmentally friendly and it's less expensive, so it just makes more sense.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, where can people learn if people wanted to learn more about SOAP₂O, see how it works, maybe test it out if that's possible? What's the best way to learn more about it?
Yeah, I mean, look, following us on our LinkedIn, or whether it be on our website, soap₂O.co.uk, or feel free to make contact with myself or Sophie or Lauren, the girls in the office that do a great job. They're on LinkedIn as well. If it's of interest for you or your company, or you want to be a distributor of our products, just please make contact directly with ourselves or email me directly at jordan@soap₂O.co.uk.
And the website, if people wanted to check that out first,
is www.soap₂O.co.uk.
Easy enough. Also, do you distribute only in the UK, or you?
We are already potentially looking at talking to distributors in over 15 countries.
Amazing. So, yeah, if you're interested, it sounds like let Jordan know, because then he'll start to make sure that those countries are available sooner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Jordan, thank you very much for your time. So we have Jordan Hurley from SOAP₂O joining us today to talk about the environmental and cost benefits of not shipping water. So thank you very much for your time today, Jordan, and thank you everyone for joining us and listening. And take care. Have a great day.
Thanks, Daniel.
Cheers.